Members, if you'll all come into the chamber. Members, if you'll come to the chamber, we'll get this party started. The hour for convening having arrived. All members will please take their seats. Mr. Clerk, will you ring the bell? Okay, good morning. It was a tough day in Mudville last night. All of our mighty Caseys popped up down at the kickball game. The Senate prevailed. Doesn't do my heart any good to say that to y'all. We will have auditions for the starting 9 next year. I can assure you every one of them will be replaced. I'm sending them down to Gwinnett to the Stripers or somewhere like that. We're going to demote them from the first team. But the cheerleaders were great. I will say, I'm not going to recognize you, Representative Moore. I'll just give you the courtesy of telling you how great the cheerleaders were yesterday. We're going to have the morning roll call. All members present will please vote green to signify their presence in the chamber. And Mr. Clerk, will you unlock the machines? Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. While the machine is, can I get you to highlight that again? No? Oh, it's gone. So on the 4th column is a member who just was sworn in today, a new member of this family from House District 125, Representative Gary Richardson. Gary Richardson, let's give him a round of applause. Representative Richardson was sworn in this morning by a former member of this House, Judge Barry Fleming. It was good to see him today, so it was a good morning. So Representative Richardson, it was good to see your name up on the board, and thank you for all of your hard work. We look forward to working with you. Good luck. Doorkeepers, if you'll please close the doors and keep them closed. As is our custom, we will begin our day with scripture reading and prayer by the chaplain, after which we will pledge allegiance to the flag of our country. Our chaplain today will be introduced by the lady from the 93rd House District, Representative Doreen Carter, who celebrated her birthday yesterday. I won't say which one it was, but she celebrated her birthday. Representative Carter.
Good morning. It's the first time I've been up here. Like the view. Thank you, Speaker Burns, for the opportunity. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure to have the privilege of bringing Reverend Dr. Darrell Hall, pastor of the Way Community Church, to be our chaplain today, and he is my pastor. We have with us a few of our board members. If you would greet them, we have Ms. Tina Ulmer, Ms. Jackie Floyd, and Mr. Sam McClintock, who's in the gallery. You know, it's not often that you really are led to a place where you know where the Lord is. And I am honored and privileged to be a member of the Way, where our pastor is being led by the Spirit of God to teach people to life, the way to life with Jesus. He's married. He has 3 sons. They're probably at school, or they would have been here with us today, which would have been a great privilege. But I'm not going to take 10 minutes to introduce him, but I want you guys to know that he's a native of Atlanta, born and bred in Elizabeth Baptist Church, and now is leading the Way Community Church, Falcons fan. But more than anything, he is a child of the Most High God, and he walks it out every day. So, ladies and gentlemen, please, I present my pastor, the Reverend Dr. Darrell Hall.
That was good. She did a good job.
Good morning, everyone. It is my delight to be here today, and I want to start by thanking Mr. Speaker for his hospitality and leadership of this great people, and for his warmth, he and his wife, towards me today. I also want to express my gratitude to Representative Doreen Carter, who is an esteemed member of our church, and I'm thankful for her love and for her compassion to me. As a native-born Atlantan and a lifelong resident of the state of Georgia, it is an honor for me to be able to spend a few minutes with you all today to encourage you and to address you, particularly to the representatives in the room whose work impacts my daily life and whose work impacts the lives of the people I hold dearest. There's a passage of scripture I want to read in your hearing, Proverbs chapter 16, verse 3. It says, "Commit your works to the Lord, and your plans will be established." A few minutes ago, Mr. Speaker asked us to acknowledge our presence by turning our names green on the screen to my right and to your left. And as I looked at the screen, I noticed those of you who checked in for your office of service and duty today. But I want to impress upon you that there is a name who is present among us whose light did not turn green on the screen, but whose seat sits high above every seat in this room. And whatever we do, we ought to do so under the understanding that God Almighty is always present where we are. To that end, I hope that you can consider that your responsibility and the honor you have and the wisdom you use to execute your duty should be held in tension in light of the presence of God. In other words, I want to encourage you to hold your responsibility in tension with reverence. Hold the honor you have in tension with humility. And hold the wisdom you use in tension with wonder. With all of the work you do, all of the decisions you make, never lose your wonder for the presence of God. With all of the honor you have for those constituents who have voted to allow you to occupy this place, I want to encourage you to do so. Walk in humility as you do so. And then with the heavy responsibility on your shoulder for your district, for the people who have placed our faith and confidence in you, may you execute that responsibility in reverence for God. Because every time we're in this room, God is here with us. And if we look close enough, we'll see God in us and in our neighbor. To the person in this room who struggles to see God in you, I say to you what Rafiki said to Simba when he struggled to see Mufasa's presence in his reflection. I say to you, look hard. And you'll see God in you. But God is also in your neighbor. There's a story of a little boy who told his mom that he wanted to go meet God. And so he asked his mom to make him a lunch, and she obliged. He packed his little backpack, and he began to make his walk from Newton County towards Atlanta to go meet God. And while he was walking in from Newton, his legs got tired around Rockdale. And so he sat down there next to a pond and began to partake of the lunch that his mom had made. While he was sitting there, an older man came and sat beside him. He noticed that the older man didn't have anything to eat or drink, so he gave him his extra juice box and split his PB&J with him. They didn't talk much because they didn't need to. The view was so serene and beautiful, and the moment was so peaceful, they just kind of soaked it in. Well, the day started to draw to a close, and the little boy decided to go back home. When he went home, he walked in the house with a smile on his face. And his mom asked him, "Why are you smiling?" He says, "Mom, I'm smiling because today I met God. And guess what? He's older than you think." The old man went home with a smile on his face, and when he got in the door, his wife noticed the joy on his countenance and asked him the reason for it. He said, "Babe, you know what? Today, I think I met God. And guess what? He's younger than you think." The point is, strangers were able to see the presence of God in the face of a neighbor. So regardless of what party you represent or what district has sent you to this space, my hope is that you see God in yourself when you look harder, and across the aisle, you see God in the face of your neighbor. Would you please stand so we can pray? Let's pray together. Father, we thank you for this solemn moment to punctuate the sacred responsibility that these leaders have to represent me and other Georgians who have placed our confidence in them. We thank you, God, for our speaker. And we pray, God, that you would continue to lead him and guide him. And I pray, Lord God, for each of these representatives, God, that you would encourage their heart, that you would allow them with a spirit of reverence and humility and wonder to execute the duties entrusted to them. And I pray, God, that you would guide them as they guide us. We commit our works to you, Lord, because we know only you can truly establish them. It's in your Son's name we pray. Let every heart say, amen. Amen. At this time, if we could please, together, pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Darrell.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Brother Darrell. We appreciate that the great devotion, as good as we've heard here. So thank you for those words, and thank you for encouraging us. Doorkeepers, you may unlock the doors. Members, you may join Brother Darrell in the South Ante room. Show him your appreciation for his words and his presence with us today. And maybe take a photo if you'd like as well. Members, our doctor of the day today has brought to us by Representative Sharon Cooper of the 45th, Dr. Brett Cannon. So if you're in need of good health services, go see Dr. Cannon down in the aid station and express your thanks for him serving. Thank you, members. Chair recognizes Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits. Chairman Tarvin.
Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Information and Audits has read the journal from the previous legislative day and found it to be correct. Mr. Speaker, on another note, I alone cannot change the world, but I can cast a stone across the waters and create many ripples.
Mr. Chairman, you do just that with your words of wisdom, and we appreciate that of you too. Chairman Tarvin, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection to dispense with the reading of the journal? Chair hears none. The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there any objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the resolution establishing the order of business for the day?
Representative, registration of the 104th moves filing be established as the order of business during the first part of the period. Unanimous consents. Introduction of bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions. Second reading of bills and resolutions. Reports of standing committees. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills and resolutions. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions. Morning orders.
Is there any objection to the adoption of the resolution establishing the order of business for the day? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. First reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1499 by Representative Cannon, the 58th, Parker, the 107th, Beverly, the 143rd, Roberts, the 52nd, Bennett, the 94th, and others. The bill be titled an act to amend Chapter 2A, Title 31 of the Official Code of Georgia, annotated relating to the Department of Public Health.
Public and Community Health.
House Resolution 1502 by Representative Jones, the 60th, a resolution urging the senior living industry to study and implement rent control.
Governmental Affairs.
House Resolution 1503 by Representative Bennett, the 94th, Cooper, the 45th, Roberts, the 52nd, Campbell, the 35th, Romano, the 97th, and others. A resolution designating February of each year as Cholesterol Screening Awareness Month.
Special rules.
House Resolution 1504 by Representative Knight of the 134th, Anulowitz the 42nd, Bonner the 73rd, Mathiak the 74th, Camper the 135th, and others. A resolution urging the United States Department of Energy to ensure the feasibility of tankless water heaters.
Energy, Utilities, and Telecommunications.
House Resolution 1516 by Representative Thomas the 65th and Glaze the 67th. A resolution honoring the life of Mr. Dominique Anthony Turner and dedicating an intersection in his memory.
Transportation.
Senate Bill 571 by Senator Lucas the 26th. A bill being titled an act to amend an act providing a new charter for the city of Sandersville.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 572 by Senator Strickland the 17th. A bill being titled an act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the probate court of Morgan County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 573 by Senator Strickland the 17th. A bill being titled an act to authorize the assessment and collection of a technology fee by the magistrate court of Morgan County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 574 by Senator Strickland the 17th, Cowser the 46th, Anderson the 43rd. A bill being titled an act to amend an act creating a new judicial circuit for the state of Georgia.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
Senate Bill 577 by Senator Jackson the 41st, Butler the 55th, Harrell the 40th, Anderson of the 43rd, Davenport of the 44th. Bill be titled an act to amend an act creating the state court of DeKalb County.
Intergovernmental Coordination.
That completes first readers.
Second reading of bills and resolutions. The clerk will read.
House Bill 1487 by Representative Collins of the 71st, Smith of the 70th, Huddleston of the 72nd, Smith of the 18th. A bill to amend an act to provide a new charter for the city of Villa Rica. House Bill 1488 by Representative McDonald of the 26th, Jaspers of the 11th, Jones of the 25th, Clark of the 100th, Cox of the 28th, and others. A bill to authorize Forsyth County to exercise all redevelopment and other powers provided under the Redevelopment Powers Law. House Bill 1489 by Representative Staines of the 180th, Corbett of the 174th, Knight of the 134th. A bill to repeal an act creating the Camden County Spaceport Authority. House Bill 1490 by Representative Newton of the 127th, a bill relating to restrictive covenants and contracts. House Bill 1491 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th, a bill to amend an act relating to regulation and taxation of electricity used as motor fuel and electric vehicle charging stations. House Bill 1492 by Representative Jaspers of the 11th, a bill relating to the Georgia Airport Development Authority. House Bill 1493 by Representative Newton of the 127th, a bill relating to mandatory reporting requirements for nurses. House Bill 1494 by Representative Jackson of the 165th, Hitchens of the 161st, Gilliard of the 162nd, Stevens of the 164th, Westbrook of the 163rd, a bill to amend an act creating a new charter for the city of Garden City. House Bill 1495 by Representative Jackson of the 128th, a bill to amend an act providing a new charter for the city of Sandersville. House Bill 1496 by Representative Widower of the 121st, Gaines of the 120th, a bill to reconstitute the Board of Education of Coney County. House Bill 1497 by Representative Nolowitz of the 42nd, Lim of the 98th, Panich of the 51st, Draper of the 90th, Owl of the 50th, and others. A bill relating to general provisions of health. House Bill 1498 by Representative Nolowitz of the 42nd, Lim of the 98th, Panich of the 51st, Owl of the 50th, and Cannon of the 58th. The bill relating to disclosure of certain information to persons undergoing certain surgical or diagnostic procedures, failure to comply, exceptions and regulations establishing standards for implementation. House Bill 1500 by Representative Wilkerson of the 38th. A bill to amend an act creating a new charter for the city of Powder Springs. House Bill 1501 by Representative Silcox of the 53rd, Martin of the 49th, Jones of the 47th, Hilton of the 48th. A bill to create the City of Roswell Public Facilities Authority. House Bill 1502 by Representative Montana of the 17th, New of the 64th, Gullett of the 19th, Kelly of the 16th, Smith of the 18th. A bill to amend an act creating the Paulding County Airport Authority. House Bill 1503 by Representative Gamble of the 15th and Scoggins of the 14th. A bill to amend an act creating and establishing a joint airport authority for the city of Cartersville and Bartow County. House Bill 1504 by Representative Camp of the 135th, Mathiak of the 74th, Dickey of the 145th, Crow of the 118th, Knight of the 134th. A bill to create and establish the Griffin-Spalding County Area Regional Airport Authority. House Resolution 1478 by Representative Barnes of the 86th, Clark of the 108th, Mitchell of the 88th, Bennett of the 94th, Schofield of the 63rd, and others. Resolution recognizing every third Thursday in April as Biomedical Research Day. House Resolution 1479 by Representative Petrie of the 166th, Gilliard of the 162nd, Stevens of the 164th, Hitchens of the 161st. A resolution advocating for the permanent protection of the site of the Weeping Time in Savannah, Georgia. House Resolution 1498 by Representative Rhodes of the 124th. A resolution creating the House Study Committee on Private Water Systems. House Resolution 1499 by Representative Thomas of the 65th. Resolution recognizing Mrs. Maria Montez Pfeiffer and dedicating an intersection in her honor. House Resolution 1500 by Representative Thomas of the 65th. Glaze of the 67th, Roberts of the 52nd. Resolution honoring the life of Lieutenant Michael Stephen Vogt and dedicating a road in his memory. House Resolution 1501 by Representative Thomas of the 65th, Bruce of the 61st, New of the 64th. A resolution recognizing Mr. Corey Coco Brother Condrey and dedicating a roundabout in his honor. House Resolution 1505 by Representative Dickey of the 145th, Meeks of the 178th, Campbell of the 171st, Corbett of the 174th, Cannon of the 172nd. Resolution creating the House Study Committee on Solar Facility Development. Through second readers.
Reports of standing committees. Mr. Clerk, will you read?
Representative Robert Dickey, the 145th District Chairman of the Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Agriculture and Consumer Affairs has had under its consideration following resolution of the House. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House. The following recommendations. House Resolution 1498 do pass. Respectfully submitted. Representative Robert Dickey of the 145th District, Chairman. Representative John LaHood of the 175th District, Chairman of the Committee on Governmental Affairs, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Governmental Affairs has had under its consideration the following bills of the House and Senate, and instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. House Resolution 1354 do pass. House Resolution 1432 do pass. Senate Bill 208 do pass. Senate Resolution 189 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative John LaHood of the 175th District, Chairman. Representative Beth Camp of the 135th District, Chairman on Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination Locals had under its consideration the following bills of the House. Instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendation. House Bill 1473 do pass. House Bill 1474 do pass. House Bill 1475 do pass. House Bill 1476 do pass. House Bill 1477 do pass. House Bill 1479 do pass. House Bill 1480 do pass. House Bill 1482 do pass. House Bill 1485 do pass. House Bill 1486 do pass. House Bill 1481 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Beth Camp of the 135th District, Chairman. Representative Gunner of the 8th District, Chairman of the Committee on Judiciary, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Judiciary has had under its consideration the following bills of the Senate. Has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 259 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 414 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 420 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 433 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Gunner of the 8th District, Chairman. Representative John Corbett of the 174th District, Chairman of the Committee on Motor Vehicles, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Motor Vehicles has had under its consideration the following bills of the Senate. It's instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 110 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 402 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 547 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative John Corbett of the 174th District, Chairman. Representative Jay Collins of the 71st District, Chairman of the Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Public Safety and Homeland Security has had under its consideration the following bills of the Senate. It's instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. The Senate Bill 37 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 97 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 371 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 406 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 417 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 490 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Jay Collins, 71st District, Chairman. Representative Carson of the 46th District, Chairman of the Committee on Retirement, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Retirement has had under its consideration the following bills of the Senate. Has instructed me to report same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 322 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 105 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Representative Carson, the 46th District, Chairman. Representative Shaw Blackman of the 146th District, Chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means, submitted the following report. Mr. Speaker, your Committee on Ways and Means has had under its consideration the following bills of the Senate and has instructed me to report the same back to the House with the following recommendations. Senate Bill 344 do pass by committee substitute. Senate Bill 496 do pass by committee substitute. Respectfully submitted, Representative Shaw Blackman of the 146th District, Chairman. That completes the reading of the reports of standing committees.
I see a lot of familiar faces and some unfamiliar faces on the floor. We have to get to the local calendar. It's our next action today, so if members will please take your seats. Members will please take your seats. And if you're a guest, we'll ask you to cease conversation or take it out the front door in the public area. We have a lot of guests in our gallery today. We want to demonstrate to them how professional you are. Members will move on to the local calendar. We have one bill on the local calendar today as it relates to homestead exemption, and it will require a recorded 2/3 roll call vote for passage. Third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 1473 by Representative Stinson of the 150th City of Fort Valley. House Bill 1474 by Representative Lupton of the 83rd City of Atlanta. House Bill 1475 by Representative Fleming of the 114th City of Covington. House Bill 1476 by Representative McDonald of the 26th Forsyth County. House Bill 1477 by Representative Fleming of the 114th City of Oxford. House Bill 1479 by Representative Burchett of the 176th Ware County. House Bill 1480 by Representative Silcox of the 53rd Fulton County. House Bill 1482 by Representative Stevens of the 164th Chatham County. House Bill 1485 by Representative Lupton of the 83rd DeKalb County. House Bill 1486 by Representative Lupton of the 83rd City of Brookhaven. House Bill 1481 by Representative Cannon of the 58th City of Atlanta. House Bill 1443 by Representative Holland of the 54th City of Atlanta.
For what purposes? Chair Lady Camp, rise.
To make a motion.
State your motion.
I make a motion to recommit HB 1443 to Intergovernmental Coordination Committee.
Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption?
House Bill 1443 by Representative Holland of the 54th City of Atlanta, bill to provide for the operation and enforcement of monitoring the devices in transit vehicle lanes in the City of Atlanta.
On the lady's motion that HB 1443 be withdrawn from the calendar and recommitted to the Intergovernmental Coordination Committee. Is there objection? There is objection. The lady move. Lady moves. There is objection. We'll vote this. All those in favor of recommitting House Bill 1443 to the Intergovernmental Coordination Committee will vote yes. Those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the motion to recommit House Bill 1443, remove it from the local calendar, recommit to the Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination. The yeas are 91, the nays are 77. The bill is going back to the committee. Is any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall these bills now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills will, on the local calendar, will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of the local calendar, the yeas are 163, the nays are 6. These bills, having received the requisite constitutional majority, are therefore passed. Okay, members, we have a challenge this morning. We have 10 minutes for morning orders, and my timer won't go into the second mode. So we have a lot of folks in the gallery who have traveled here to be recognized by members today. So you need to take less than 1 minute, considerably less than 1 minute, to make that recognition, or I may just have to not allow some of y'all to have a morning order. So recognize your neighbor this morning as you come to the well. So we'll begin. I'm going to try to get all of you in, but it's up to y'all. Representative Barnes, you're recognized for a morning order. Representative, if you will stand down just for a minute. Representative Dickey, you and Representative Meeks are next, so we want to stay on course here. Representative Monty Barnes is recognized for a morning order.
Come on. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I stand before you today to honor someone very special that we have up in the gallery. But first, let me tell you how hard it is for us to engage our youth today. Decades ago, when we were young, I'm a little older than I look, we went outside and played and rode bikes and stayed outside till the lights come on. But it's hard to engage our youth today. So we have someone in the gallery that has found a way to engage hundreds and hundreds of girls in our state. I would like to honor Dr. Diana Williams, who has a dancing team called DD4L Dancing Dolls, and we have hundreds of girls who practice vigorously every day, who compete, and who still keep their grades up. So can we have Dr. Diana Williams stand up and the Dancing Dolls? Thank you. If you're a dancing doll, please stand up. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Chairman Dickey is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, colleagues, and good morning. It's a peachy day today in the House. I know many of you asked me about the weather over the last few days, and I can assure you the weather was kind and our peach crop looks good. And today, it gives me pleasure to introduce you to the 2023 Georgia Peach Queens. And they're in the gallery. And these beautiful and talented girls have promoted Georgia's best fruit, our peaches. Georgia is, of course, the peach state, and all year long they've done that. And they're wonderful ambassadors for not only peaches, but for Georgia agriculture and their hometowns. And let me introduce them to you real quick. Miss Kelly Anoff, she's a student from Winder attending the University of Georgia. There she is. She's done that for several years. I have Miss Teen Gabrielle Brown from McDonough. Junior Miss Peach Bella Grace Sanders from Forsyth. And Little Miss Peach, Brianna Bland from Claxton, Georgia. And Tiny Miss Peach, Ellison Boggs from Albany. So thank y'all. Thank you, Donna Long from Warner Robins, who's heads this pageant up and has done that for so long. Thank you, Donna. Thank you, girls, for being here and all you do. Have a peachy day.
Thank you, Mr. Peach. Welcome, ladies. Thank you for representing the greatest product, one of the greatest products that we produce in Georgia, Georgia peaches. Chairman Meeks, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, this body does a lot for education in our state, and I have the privilege today to recognize Midway Elementary School in Pierce County as being a 2023 National ESEA Distinguished School. Mr. Speaker, as you probably know, with this award coming through, one of the things that has to happen is that there are only 2 schools in the state that are awarded this prestigious award. They have increased their scores on ELA assessment from 70.23 in 2021 to 87.94 in 2023. But, Mr. Speaker, they also increased in math from 84.88 to 95.83. Mr. Speaker, and that would be on 1st through 3rd grades. And as you know, these kids were in elementary school during a pandemic. So kudos to Dr. Todd and your staff for great work and continuing to educate tomorrow's leaders. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Great work. We appreciate what y'all are doing with our young people. Thanks for being here. Leader Beverly is recognized for a morning order. Representative Lisa Campbell, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Give the gentleman your attention. He has some friends with him.
Today, I'd like to rise and honor the Gwinnett lawmaker named one of Georgia's most powerful business leaders by Atlanta Magazine, yours truly, Representative Farouk Mogul. Secondly, so y'all give a rise. Secondly, there's another person who was named most powerful business leader in the state of Georgia, and that would be, I mean, he's not going to come down here to cheap seats, but it is our speaker, John Burns. Y'all, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Farouk, excuse me, Representative Mo, you're a pretty good kickball player too. So thanks and congratulations. Thanks, Mr. Leader. Representative Lisa Campbell is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I invite all of my Cobb County colleagues to join me at the well this morning to honor and recognize an inspirational leader in our North Cobb District who is inspiring our youth, working in local government, and doing all of this as a working mother. Please recognize Jordan Gonzalez, the Recreation Coordinator, Community Resource Department, City of Ackworth, accompanied by, we have 5 pages today who are serving with us, but they're also participating in Ackworth's Young Alderman program, and I'm so excited to have them and their teacher here today, Sam Frondorf. So kudos to their enthusiasm for learning locally and here at the state level, and we wish them so much success. I would love for all of you to stand and please be recognized today. Thank you so much, Omar, Jesse, Ire, Sophia, and Gabriel. Thank you so much.
Representative Marin is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Where's my twin brother here?
I won't fall in that trap again.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I rise today to commend a friend and a leader in the Latino community, Ms. Grace Lopez Williams. She's celebrating her 25th anniversary. And Grace was privileged being honored by the Hispanic Business Magazine as among the 100 most influential Hispanic in the United States. She has a thriving accounting firm. She has been a leader in the Latino community. She's celebrating with us 25 years. Grace, I would like for us to rise and welcome Grace Williams to this house and honor her on the 25-year career. Also, Mr. Speaker, I know I haven't got the red. Last Wednesday, I mentioned my wife. Okay, so she's here today. So Nereida, everybody, Nereida, yes, we love you. Te queremos mucho. Gracias. All right, guys, thank you.
Thank you, Representative Martinez as well. Representative Marin. Representative Bernal is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today I rise congratulations to Clayton County Public Schools Principal Candace Jester on becoming the Region 3 Principal of the Year by Magnet Schools of America. She will represent the states of Georgia, Alabama, Florida, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico nationally. In 1998, my husband Clarence Bernal, who was an assistant principal at North Clayton Middle School, hired her as a teacher. Since that time, we have been family and watched her develop into an outstanding educator. Candace, would you please stand? And she's accompanied by my husband Clarence and several members of the Clayton County Public Schools staff.
Thank you, Representative Bernal. Welcome. Good to have you. Thank you for being here. Representative Lim is recognized. Representative Park Cannon, you're next.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm very pleased to welcome Meadow Creek Elementary School and their student council here today. Would you please stand? They serve a variety of leadership roles at their schools, including as peer leaders, student ambassadors, and most recently have raised hundreds of dollars for both United Way and the Norcross Neighborhood Cooperative. They are also accompanied by Ms. Jane Wysocki, who was 2023's Gifted Teacher of the Year for Gwinnett. So let's take a moment to acknowledge them. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative Lim. Always good to have young people. Thanks for being here. Representative Cannon, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today is Meek Production Day in honor of Miko Evans, who started his career in LGBTQ media the year that I was born. And I'm just really excited that we have had a platform together, making sure that Georgia and Atlanta understands the impact that leaders like Bayard Rustin and other Atlantans have had. So today we have Miko Evans in the gallery with us, who has provided a Fulton County proclamation, and some of the members of his team here. If we can just clap and give them some appreciation for the work that they do. Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. I yield the well.
Thank you, Representative Cannon. Welcome to the House. Representative McLean and the Gwinnett delegation. Representative McLean and the Gwinnett delegation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know,
just give them a chance to get down, Representative. We'll give you a second.
Appreciate that, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
If the members will give the gentleman in the well your attention.
Matt Reeves, Representative Reeves.
Okay, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. You know, it's the delegation. We're honored today to have, you know, in Gwinnett County Public Schools, we are the largest school district in the state, but we're also the 10th largest in the United States, and we're honored here today to have our chair of the board, Mr. Chairman Knudsen, here in this gallery. So please give him a hand. Please give him a welcome, because it's one thing to be the largest, but to stay the largest. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Representative McLean. Representative Holly, recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Speaker.
friends.
And friends. Friends, where you at? Get out of here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today we celebrate Black Men and Boys Day at the Georgia State Capitol. In the spirit of the original 33 African Americans, legislators, and invited to this Capitol, we also have with us, McDonough City Councilman Jamal Burt, honorees today, DJ Calvin, the coordinator, Principal Marcus Searcy, Attorney Mawali Mel Davis, the Black Men's Lab, who we honored last time, and we have the most winningest coach in DeKalb County history, and that is Dr. Phil McCrary, who's joining us. And lastly, an honoree I know that you all love, our House Minority Leader, James Beverly. We have food available. Please come join us in Cap 230. Thank you.
Welcome to the House, gentlemen. Glad to have y'all. Representative Johnny Chastain is recognized for a morning order. Yeah, I know you ran a couple times yesterday. You did good.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to recognize two outstanding students from Gilmer County High School this morning, Carson Farris and Taylor Shesher. Would y'all stand up, please? Carson and Taylor have been recognized as the Georgia Fellowship of Christian Athletes 2024 Boys and Girls Wrestlers of the Year. Quick thing, Carson Farris, his athletic record includes 1 AAA individual state championship and 2 AAA individual state runner-up finishes, and Taylor earned the distinction across the state of Georgia for her performance, notably during her victory as her junior year as a Georgia state champion with all the classifications. So great job, Carson and Taylor. And also we have our principal of Gilmer County High School, Principal Bowen. We have the assistant principal, Mr. Johnson. We have the boys wrestling coach, Josh Godapur, and the girls wrestling coach, Stacy Galloway, and Carson's parents, Joe and Felicia Ferris. Please make them welcome this morning. Thank y'all.
Representative Mathis is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm here for 2 happy resolutions today, congratulating the Bleckley County High School girls cross country team for winning the 2023 Class 1AA Division I State Cross Country Championship. Will y'all please stand up there, along with Coach Shelley Cranford, one of the best in the whole state. These girls, let's see, have a phenomenal performance. The teamwork, extraordinary resilience made this team a spectacular one to observe throughout the season. And as a fitting finale to its remarkable 2023 campaign, the team captured its 2nd consecutive state cross-country championship and its 6th title in the last 8 years. Thank you very much. And I got one more, Mr. Speaker, and I'll be very quick. Caleb Darcy. We're recognizing him as the 1A Division I Boys Individual State Cross Country Championship. Caleb, his performance at the state tournament championship victory are a magnificent example of his exceptional high school cross-country career. Caleb's victory was culminated of the season, hard work, dedication, and excellent sportsmanship. Caleb, if you stand up there, you're up there with all those pretty girls, we want to give you a round of applause. Thank you, girl. Thank y'all for being here.
Congratulations. They probably cross-countryed all the way from down in Cochran back up here. Good to have y'all. Congratulations again. Representative Daniel and the Henry County delegation. Representative Crow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. Today we welcome the GIAA State Champion Wrestlers of Strong Rock Christian Academy in Locust Grove. We celebrate not just a championship, but the embodiment of Georgia's spirit of resilience and teamwork by the Strong Rock Wrestling team. Their state title is a testament to their collective hard work and dedication. And under Coach Scott Parrish, the team excelled with standout performances from Jamie Gibson, Aiden Hamilton, David Parrish, David Logino, Cade Hankinson, and Dawson Webb, each also securing individual state titles themselves. Their achievements reflect not only personal excellence, but also the strength of their unity and support for one another. We commend these young athletes not only for their victories on the mat, but for inspiring their peers and setting a high standard across the state. If you would please join me in congratulating these wrestlers and the Strong Rock community for showcasing dedication, perseverance, and the spirit of excellence.
And Mr. Speaker, one of them is a page for us today too. He's back there on the right, so.
Thank you.
Awesome. Good to have you. Good group. Thanks for being here, and thanks for paging as well. Representative Hagan and Chairman Newton recognized for a morning order.
Good morning, Mr. Speaker, and thank you, colleagues. I want to introduce some healthcare leaders that lead some great teams that provide healthcare in Georgia. Today is HCA Healthcare Day, and there's 5 hospitals and 6 surgery centers with over 9,000 employees, over 825,000 patient care visits, and over 130 million in uncompensated care. These hospitals are in suburban areas like mine in Augusta at Doctors Hospital with the world's largest burn center, teaching hospital like Memorial in Savannah, and then great investments in rural areas including Dublin, Waycross, and Vidalia, expanding healthcare in Georgia. I just want to thank them all for being here today. That's CEO Matt Hasbrook, Dale Neely of Waycross, Brad Talbert of Memorial in Savannah, Don Avery, Fairview Park, Dublin, and Joanna Conley from my own Doctors Hospital in the Burn Center in Augusta. Thank y'all for being here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We appreciate y'all and what your institutions do to take care of the people of Georgia. It's much appreciated. I can guarantee you that. Thank y'all, and thanks for being here. Representative Jenkins is recognized for a morning order.
You want to come down, Lynn? Well, good morning, friends. Today I rise to recognize the Coweta County Sheriff's Office. In 1948, Sheriff Lamar Potts showed the state of Georgia and the country that no man was above the law. This case was written about by Margaret Ann Barnes in the book Murder in Coweta County, and if you haven't seen the movie in a long time, you need to watch it again, featuring Andy Griffin and Johnny Cash and June Carter Cash. Is a wonderful piece of cinema about this event. Sheriff Linwood continues the tradition started by Lamar Potts of excellence years ago by hosting Man Tracker public safety training event. This event's been going on for over 30 years. Down in Coweta County, they train over 1,000 public safety officers from all over the Southeast, and the only event like this of its kind that I'm aware of. This kicks off on April the 18th, and like all good things in Georgia, it ends with a big old barbecue. And on behalf of Sheriff Linwood, I want to invite each and every one of y'all to that barbecue dinner. Just come get with me. But today, I have Captain Jay Wood on the command staff of the Uniform Patrol Division, and my brother, Dan Jenkins, an investigator in the Capital Crimes Unit in the Coweta County Sheriff's Office. Again, thank you, and joining me in welcoming these folks today with us.
Thank you, gentlemen, for being here and taking care of the folks as well. Y'all have a very, very important job, and we appreciate you. Chair Lady Penny Houston is recognized for a morning order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wanted to welcome the Berrien County ambassadors from the chamber here to the Capitol, but they were, I see the chaperones here, but I think the students are over at the Senate, and they were here first. And I'd like the administration for the school and all the chaperones to stand up. Thank y'all so much. And I just want to say I was sorry I was not here when they were in the balcony. But Representative Debbie Buckner, Representative Evans, and Representative Hewley, and had joined Katie Dempsey and Scott Holcomb to support Katie and Scott on their mission and our mission to make the Senate recognize the bills we passed to compensate people in prison. And that's the reason we had a press conference, and I hope they listen to it. Thank you.
Thank you all for being here. Appreciate your work. And I hope they listen to you too, because we listen to you over here. Maybe we can pass that along to them. That completes our morning orders. Thank you, members. We got through that pretty well and recognized some very, very important Georgians. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 328.
Senate Bill 328 by Senator Albers, the 56th, and Robertson, the 29th, to be entitled an act to amend Title 47 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to retirement and pensions so as to revise many of the provisions of the Peace Officers Annuity and Benefit Fund. This bill having assigned to the Committee on Retirement. That committee recommends this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Clint Crow is recognized to present the bill. Representative Crow.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I rise today to present Senate Bill 328. And what it does is it makes some changes to the Peace Officers Annuity and Benefit Fund, or POAB. These changes fall into three broad categories: some administrative updates, improved benefits for members, and a membership's dues increase. These changes are solely funded by the membership dues increase, and there's no requested state funds or fee increases of any kind in this bill that would be a burden on the state. Administrative changes include providing a more concise definition for a peace officer that's in line with the post definition. It doesn't change any eligibility to be a member of the fund. It also includes updating job titles and duties, board powers and duties, and the application process. The bill proposes several enhancements to the benefit of members. The 5-year wait period for buybacks is removed, so a member can buy back eligible time the day that they join the fund. And this allows, it's more financially feasible for officers to be able to buy back that time because they buy it back at the actual actuarial cost of that time with the benefits included. So that's a big enhancement and makes it a lot better for the officers to be able to do that. So another reason to allow buybacks is that approximately 80% of the officers are from city and county agencies. They often don't become aware of POAB until years after they join, are eligible to join. And this requires agencies to provide information to new officers about POAB. And that, coupled with a buyback, provides officers a more realistic opportunity to purchase eligible time. To help with the shortage of officers and retention of institutional knowledge, the proposed bill will allow members to have vested in the fund and reach the age of 55 to remain employed in public safety and receive their benefits from POAB. We're going to increase the death benefits. For a regular natural death, it'll be $5,000. Line of duty death benefits will increase to $10,000. And another change to is a refund of 100% of all dues paid to any person who opts out of membership in the fund. So hopefully this is another way we can support officers in the state and promote retention of our seasoned officers. And I will answer any questions, Mr. Speaker, if there are any.
Gentleman has no questions.
Thank you. I yield the well.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there an objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there an objection to adopting the committee substitute? Chair hears none. The committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of Senate Bill 328, the yeas are 161, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 533? 533.
Senate Bill 533 by Senator Strickland of the 17th to be titled Act to Amend Code Section 17-7-130 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to proceedings upon plea of mental incompetency to stand trial so as to provide for jail-based competency restoration programs. This bill having referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil, that committee recommends this bill do pass.
Representative Tyler Paul Smith is recognized to present Senate Bill 533. Representative Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Members of this august body, good morning. Hope everybody's good and caffeinated. I bring to you today Senate Bill 533. This bill comes to us as a recommendation of the Behavioral Health Reform and Innovation Commission, and specifically from the Forensics Work Group chaired by Judge Gosselin over in Great Hall County. As many of you know, one of the main functions of the department is to provide inpatient treatment for individuals adjudicated incompetent to stand trial. We face challenges in our state and most of the country, considering a long list of these individuals waiting for a state hospital bed caused by severe workforce challenges experienced in state hospitals during COVID. As of last week, there are 630 individuals stuck in a jail waiting for a bed, with an average wait time of 275 days. However, the state only has 641 forensic beds. Half of those are occupied by individuals with an average stay of over 9 years. Due to these challenges, we've seen great pilot programs that are jail-based restoration programs in particular to help with this backlog. These programs include therapeutic intervention skills to allow these individuals to learn how to de-escalate in violent situations, as well as medical administration or individual and or group therapy. Currently, there are pilot programs underway in Cobb and Chatham counties which have yielded positive results, such as accelerated processing time. I'll note that this House has added funding in the FY 2025 budget to expand the Cobb program and another 30-bed program in Dodge County over in Representative Danny Mathis's district. This bill is just another effort in helping those with mental illness who are stuck in our jails to get the treatment that they need. I will note this bill would simply grant DBHDD that authority as long as there is a mutual agreement between the state and the sheriff. If the sheriff does not want to enter into this program, they do not have to do so. With that, Mr. Speaker, that's the emphasis of the bill, and I'll stand for a couple of questions.
You have a couple of questions.
Yes, sir.
Representative Mary Margaret Oliver to your left has a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
To my friend, yes.
Thank you, sir, for helping bring this bill to the floor. This represents an enormous amount of very hard work by both sheriffs and the judges to deal with the problem that's significantly clogging our system. We need this bill, and I appreciate your effort. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your long efforts in trying to approach this subject and get those the help that they need.
Gentleman yield.
Yes, sir.
Representative Silcox, Chairlady Silcox in the back.
Does the gentleman yield?
To my friend, yes.
Is it not true that there are more than 1,000 people awaiting evaluation to determine if they are competent enough to stand trial, and that the average wait time for these restoration services at a mental health facility is over 275 days?
That is so very true, and I thank you for that question and pointing out that key fact that there is a desperate need for this.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for bringing the bill.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, with that, I'll yield this well and ask this body's favorable consideration.
Gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee has agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose is Representative Kennard rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, isn't it true that the largest mental health service provider in our state is Georgia Department of Corrections, but SB 533 will help us change that direction?
I know the gentleman has studied that area, and I appreciate his comment. Have all members now voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of Senate Bill 533, the yeas are 159, the nays are 8. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 493? Senate Bill 493.
Senate Bill 493 by Senator Hatch of the 50th, Kennedy the 18th, Gooch of the 51st, and others, be entitled Act to amend Article 2, Chapter 1, and Title 42 of the Official Code of Georgia Annotated relating to the Sexual Offender Risk Review Board so as to provide for additional penalties for registered sexual offenders. This bill has been committed to the Committee on Judiciary Non-Civil. That committee recommends this bill do pass by committee substitute.
Representative Victor Anderson is recognized to present the bill. Representative Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I apologize for my voice. I hope it holds out today so I can present this very important piece of legislation to you. Senate Bill 493 today addresses the fact that technology has outpaced Georgia's laws and regulations, particularly in the field of dealing with registered sex offenders. Currently, it is state law that the photography of minors by a registered sex offender without the permission of their parents is a misdemeanor of high and aggravated nature. What this bill does is it adds that if there, on the first offense, if there is a fine associated with that, the minimum fine is $1,500. If there is a second offense, it advances it to a felony with a mandatory sentence of 1 to 30 years and a fine of $5,000 to $100,000. We also require that no registered sex offender shall possess, own, or operate an unmanned aircraft system, commonly referred to as a drone, with the intent to photograph, observe, follow, or contact any person without their consent or in a way that violates their reasonable expectation of privacy. This provision comes with a mandatory 5 to 10 year and a mandatory fine of $20,000 to $100,000. Section 2 of the bill strengthens requirements for a petition for release from registration requirements. It also requires registered offenders who are convicted in other jurisdictions that they have met the requirements and been released from their requirements in those jurisdictions before they can petition in Georgia. And then finally, Section 3, it allows that the courts can prohibit registered sexual offenders from possessing, owning, or operating unmanned aircraft systems, again, commonly known as drones. Mr. Speaker, that's the bill. I will stand for questions and ask for the body's favorable consideration.
You have one question. Representative Silcox in the back has a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
I do.
Is it not true that many drones on the market have high-resolution cameras with significant zoom capabilities that would allow a predator to take 4K video footage from altitudes where the drone may not even be noticed?
That is absolutely true. And again, as I opened up my comments earlier, technology has outpaced our laws, and so this is an attempt to get back to the point to where we can protect the vulnerable and the victims from these people.
Thank you for bringing the bill.
Thank you.
Gentlemen, yield for one more question.
Yes, sir. One more.
Representative Reeves, to your right, has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman from Habersham County yield for a question?
I will, for my friend.
Isn't this true? This is one of many measures we have taken this session to keep pace of technology, and also that this is in response to police department requests.
The gentleman knows of what he speaks, and yes, sir, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Colleagues, I ask for your favorable consideration. Mr. Speaker, I yield the will.
Gentlemen, is yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? If all members almost voted. All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 493. The yeas are 170, the nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 464? 464.
Senate Bill 464 by Senator Dixon, the 45th Payne, the 54th, Still of the 48th, and others, be entitled an act to amend Article 17 of Chapter 2 and Title 20 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to teachers and other school personnel so as to establish a school supplies for teachers program. This bill having referred to the Committee on Education. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
The lady from Warner Robins, Representative Bethany Ballard, is recognized to present the bill. Representative Ballard.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I have Senate Bill 464. This bill does a couple of things. It amends House Bill 538, the Georgia Early Literacy Act from last year, by providing some changes to the number of screening assessment tools that will be used to assess our students. By May 2025, the Literacy Council and the Department of Education will narrow down the current list of screening assessment tools that schools may use. This will be a list of 5 screeners, one of which will be the free universal reading screener that was mandated in House Bill 538. It also codifies the current teacher supply stipend program, which has been in place since 2021 using GEAR funds. These funds are running out, and we do not want this program to disappear because it's good for teachers. This legislation simply codifies the program, keeping it in the code subject to appropriations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Colleagues, I'd ask for the body's favorable consideration, and if there are no questions, I'll yield the well.
Lady has a question or two, if she'll take them. Let's see. This gentleman knows something about literacy. Chairman Irwin, to your right, has a question. Chairman Irwin.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the lady yield?
Yes.
Is it not true that about a third of our third graders do not read on grade level?
That is true, yes.
Follow-up question.
Sure.
Is it not true that you in this House has led way at trying to tackle the task of a third of our students or 2/3 of our students not reading on grade level?
Yes, I have tried very hard to get this started, and I am so appreciative of this body's support.
One more follow-up question, if I may. Does this bill also help out our teachers that put a lot of money into their classrooms for their students by providing assistance for those students to the teachers?
Absolutely. Most teachers spend about $300 to $400 out of pocket every year in their classrooms, and this stipend program helps them in a number of ways.
Thank you. Thank you for this bill.
Lady Yield Whip Park, to your left, has a question. Whip Park.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the Gentlelady yield?
I do.
Is it not true that I appreciate both sections of this bill, both the Georgia Council on Literacy along with the School Supplies for Educators Act?
I'm sure you do.
Is it not true that or would you be open to ensuring that the school supplies section is included or amended to be included in any sort of change when it comes to our QBE formula?
I think that is a big conversation that we all need to be open to having at some point, and I think it's going to be subject to what Appropriations wants to do.
In light of how important, and you for a final question. Okay. Is it not true that because this is not included as QBE, that it is possible for this legislature not to fund this going forward and could fund other priorities such as legislation as passed in Senate Bill 233?
Well, I guess it is possible, but I can assure you that I, for one, will be pushing for this program in the coming years.
Thank you very much.
Lady has no further questions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield the will.
She's yielded the will. Thank you for your work on literacy. You've done a great job, and I appreciate you standing for this bill. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purposes, Representative Lisa Campbell rise?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Parliamentary inquiry, please.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that I wholeheartedly support all of the work that this chamber has done and the Literacy Council to help our kids improve reading? And is it further not true that there is an ongoing opportunity for us to continue to allocate funds in our budget to cover the incremental costs of new reading curriculum?
I think the lady knows of the commitment of this House to the students of this state, so thank you for the question, for the inquiry, excuse me. All members voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of Senate Bill 464, the yeas are 169, the nays 1. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption of Senate Bill 455? 455.
Senate Bill 455 by Senator Strickland, the 17th, Kirkpatrick, the 32nd, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 49.4, 14080, the official code of Georgia annotated relating to recovery of medical assistance from third party liable for sickness, injury, disease, or disability. This bill has been referred to the Committee on Health. That committee recommends that this bill do pass by Rules Committee substitute.
Chairman Hawkins is recognized to present the bill. Chairman Hawkins.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Substitute to Senate Bill 455, there's two sections added to the original bill. Section 1 deals with a health care plan shall not impose a step therapy for prescription drugs for treating serious mental illness. That is in the Insurance Code 33. Section 2 places the definitions of the listed mental conditions in the Medical Assistance Code of 49. Then on Section 3, we're into the original part of 455, and it states that third-party payer shall not refuse to pay for health care items or services solely on the basis that the third-party payer had not previously authorized for such item or service. Also says that the insurer will respond to the Department of Community Health within 60 days upon inquiry of non-payment. That's the bill, Mr. Speaker. If there are no questions, I will yield the will.
The gentleman did a great job. He has no questions.
Thank you, sir.
The gentleman has yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to withdrawing the committee's substitute? The chair hears none. The committee's substitute is withdrawn. Is there any objection to adopting the substitute offered by the committee on rules? The chair hears none. The rules committee substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? Chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Newton rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, isn't it true that that this bill is just one more step in what we're trying to do in Georgia to take care of mental health, individuals suffering with mental health challenges, and it's so precarious that changing them every time their employer insurance changes would just be devastating, and this is a great step forward. Isn't that true, Mr. Speaker?
I'm sure the gentleman knows what he speaks because of what he does every day for a living. He understands the issue from top to bottom. All members now voted. If so, the clerk will lock the machine. On the passage of Senate Bill 455, the yeas are 170, nays are 2. The bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Mr. Clerk, will you read the caption to Senate Bill 465? 465.
Senate Bill 465 by Senator Goodman of the 8th, Hatchett of the 50th, Tillery the 19th, and others, to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 5 of Title 16 of the Official Code of Georgia annotated relating to homicide so as to provide for the felony offense of aggravated involuntary manslaughter. This bill having been referred to the Committee on Judiciary and Non-Civil, that committee recommends that this bill do pass by committee substitute.
You ready, Whip Burchett? Whip Burchett is recognized to present the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Ready or not, I'm here. Does everybody feel that? Everybody feels that impending 40th day coming on? I can feel it. Certainly the energy is different in the building. So I'm going to pray for each and every one of you all in this room as well as myself. To this bill, I'm going to do, it's a very near and dear bill to my heart. And I'm going to read some words about the young man that this bill is named after. And then I'm going to go into the specifics of the bill. But just so everybody knows what the bill is about, it's a fentanyl bill, and it's seeking to address the problems we're having with the folks in the state of Georgia and across the United States overdosing on fentanyl. I don't think that's I don't think that's a secret. I think everyone in here knows that it is a problem, and we're trying to find a way that we can get after that problem here. But first, let me speak to Austin. It's my honor to bring before you Senate Bill 465 for my good friend, Senator Russ Goodman, who we share a district in South Georgia, particularly Lowndes County and Valdosta. The bill is named after Austin Walters. Austin is a constituent of ours. He was a very gifted young man, and very kind-hearted and great personality. Austin loved people, and people loved Austin. It's a testament to the fact that he was one of the top-performing salespeople throughout the nation for AgPro, a nationwide John Deere dealership. Austin, like so many of our friends, family, and fellow Georgians, suffered from anxiety and depression. He sought to treat the issue he faced by buying Xanax, and he bought Xanax off the street. Well, unfortunately, Austin bought Xanax that was laced with fentanyl, and that was a fatal mistake that cost him his life. Shortly after his death, his father, Gus, who's here with us in the chamber, Gus and Beth Walters over here, the father of Austin, started contacting Senator Goodman to try and help alleviate the issue we have with this fentanyl pandemic. For many weeks and months, Gus emailed back and forth with Senator Goodman, and for many weeks and months, there was a back and forth about what do we do. And I'll just tell you, folks, this situation, you know, it rings true for me because I have to go back and tell my son. It takes one time, Brody. One mistake. You make one mistake. You take one pill. Now, you and I here, we grew up and it was a different world, right? You know, we could make a mistake or two. But one time, you buy a pill that you think to be a legitimate pill, and I'm not condoning the fact that you should be buying these pills by any means, but one time you take a pill and you don't wake up. You go to sleep, you don't wake up. And for me, that's something that I couldn't live with. So, to the bill. Austin's parents have suffered a great loss. And in my district, in the last month, I've had 3 overdoses of fentanyl. And this is something we've got to address. Okay, I'm through that, folks. What we've done here, thank you. What we've done here is given a tool to our district attorneys and our judges to be able to go after people that are selling and manufacturing fentanyl and putting it in drugs, substances like opioid pills, Xanax, substances like cocaine, heroin. This bill, when it came over from the Senate, was a much broader bill. I worked tirelessly with my friends on both sides of the aisle to make sure this bill addresses the issue and it doesn't encapsulate or capture folks that are innocent. I say innocent users, but someone that doesn't know that fentanyl is in the drug. Somebody that manufactures the drug or sells the drug is, in my opinion, at a higher burden. They know or should have known that that drug could be laced with fentanyl. So what we've done with this bill is given prosecutors the opportunity to go after somebody, and we've created aggravated involuntary manslaughter for someone that manufactures or sells a drug that has something, has fentanyl, and we made it very specific to fentanyl, right? Currently, under the current felony murder statute, what the burden that the DA has to carry is to prove not only there was intent to kill, but also intent or knew knowledge that there was fentanyl in the specific chemical makeup, which is a burden that is almost incapable of being reached. So what drug dealers and manufacturers are saying, they're going into court, and they're saying, well, we just sold heroin. Well, I just sold Xanax. I just sold this. I didn't know fentanyl was in it. Well, that, my friends, is not something that I'm willing to let them do, to continue to do. We took out delivery. We took out distribution, so we don't capture somebody that is a user that is sitting next to somebody that they smoke a marijuana cigarette that is laced with fentanyl, and they didn't know because they purchased the material, and then one of the people that has smoked that marijuana cigarette dies with them, and they are subject to this liability. We carved that out. That is not reached in this bill. This is intentional acts of manufacturing and selling any illegal substance that has fentanyl in it, and if fentanyl was either part or in whole the cause of the death. What we've done here is a very carefully crafted piece of legislation, folks, that we can all support, that we can all get behind to try and curb this epidemic of fentanyl use in the state of Georgia. And we've also added to this bill the provision that makes it illegal to have a peel press, which I didn't even know was a thing. People are out there buying these presses to make fake Xanax and make fake Percocets because the dollar amount that they're getting on the streets is so significant. They produce something that's produced in a garage that somebody takes, like Austin, thinking it's a legitimate pharmaceutical grade Xanax, takes it and never wakes up again. We've got families all over this state that are suffering, and I'm asking for your favorable consideration. And I really appreciate everybody standing in honor of Austin and his mother and father. I really appreciate you all advocating for this bill, and thank you, Mr. Speaker. I yield for questions if there are any.
Gentleman has a couple of questions. Representative Moore to your left has a question. Representative Moore is recognized for a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it true that 60% of the coroners here in the state of Georgia would agree that many of the deaths that come in from marijuana are laced with fentanyl?
The lady knows of what she speaks.
Representative Tanya Miller has a question to your left.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
To my friend, I do.
Is it not true, Mr. Whip, that we spent a significant amount of time working in a bipartisan way to make sure that this bill was narrowly tailored to get at the worst of the worst out here in an effort to combat what is one of the most deadly illicit substances that is currently flowing in our streets and in our communities?
The lady knows of which she speaks, and I do appreciate my colleague across the aisle working with me on this bill, and also Representative Roberts. I very much appreciate your input, and also the chairman of the committee from which the bill came, Chairman Tyler Smith. I do appreciate your work on this, and thank you very much.
Thank you for your work.
Representative Crowe has a question. Representative Clint Crowe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Gentleman yields.
Is it not true that in 2023, the DEA seized more than 79.5 million fentanyl-laced fake pills, and a 22 DEA study found that of all fentanyl-laced fake prescription pills, 6 out of 10 now contain a potentially lethal dose of fentanyl?
Yes, sir. The gentleman knows of which he speaks.
Representative Hughley to your left has a question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Does the gentleman yield?
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't it true that on behalf of one of my youngest constituents, Kayla Green, I want to thank you for this bill because she's dedicated her Girl Scout Gold Badge to making fentanyl awareness her project. So thank you so much on her behalf.
Thank you.
Representative Cox to your right has a question.
Does the gentleman yield?
He does.
Is it not true that just this past week, a 27-year-old past player of mine that I coached that graduated with my son was helping his father in Daytona Beach, who had just had a stroke, and went and got a Xanax that was laced with fentanyl? He was murdered and robbed, and we lost a great individual whom I dearly love and my family dearly loved And if not for this bill, I believe that we would be giving less hope to people. So thank you for carrying this bill, and we believe in you. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. Well, I think many of us have stories from our districts. It is literally an epidemic that we've got to get a hold of. And what we do as lawmakers is make laws up here. And this is the redress we have to seek out to try and fix this issue. I really appreciate everybody's favorable vote here, but I do want to recognize Senator Russ Goodman, who's been integral in getting this bill moved through the Senate, and really appreciate my friend from South Georgia. With that, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to yield the well.
The gentleman has yielded the well. We have a couple of folks who would like to speak in favor of the bill. Representative David Clark. Representative Clark is recognized to speak to Senate Bill 465. Representative Clark.
Sorry. Sorry. So I just want to come up and support Senate Bill 465. My cousin
Representative, if you step away just for a moment, this House can recognize the young man's parents who are with us as well. Our condolences to y'all, and thank y'all for y'all's hard work to help us move this important piece of legislation. Thank you, and thank you for being with us here today. Representative Clark.
So I'd held that in when my cousin passed. I grew up with him, went on vacation together, me and my brothers. I mean, he was a cousin, but he was a brother to us. He died last June 28th, 2023. He had struggled for a number of years with drug abuse. He had found his way. He went to technical college, gained a skill. He was crushing it in life, and he had one slip up and went to sleep, never woke up. And so I just want to come ask you to support this bill, hit right at home to all of us. My uncle eats him up every single day. We're so proud of him, where he had come from, and he had just got promoted at his job. And he was an amazing musician, one of the best musicians I've seen on the guitar. I mean, he would bring the whole room alive when he played and he sang, and died at 33 last year. So just wanted to come up here, ask for your support of this bill, and let's save lives. And one life is one life too many. So thank y'all.
Thank you, Representative Clark. Chairlady Silcox is recognized to speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid, is approximately 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. Initially developed for medical use to manage severe pain, its illicit use has surged in recent years, particularly in the context of street drugs. What makes fentanyl particularly lethal is its potency. It only takes a tiny amount to make this substance a fatal overdose. And tragically, many who consume illicit drugs have no idea that fentanyl has been mixed into substances they're actually using. The consequences, of course, are devastating. Families are shattered, just like Austin's. Communities are left grieving. Lives are needlessly lost. The statistics are staggering, painting a grim picture of the scale of this crisis. We all know that deaths from fentanyl overdoses have been rising at an alarming rate, with no signs of slowing down. But behind all these numbers lie real people like Austin, the sons, daughters, parents, and friends who have fallen victim to this very deadly substance. The drug dealers that sell unsuspecting victims drugs laced with fentanyl are playing a deadly game and should be held accountable for the damage they cause. This legislation will do just that. By enacting strict penalties for anyone complicit in fentanyl overdose, we send a strong message to all of Georgia that we will not tolerate poison on our streets, and we will aggressively pursue anyone that pushes on unsuspecting victims. So I do ask for your favorable support for this very important measure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The lady is yielded the well. Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered? Chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to adopting the committee's substitute? Chair hears none. The committee's substitute is adopted. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bill? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall this bill now pass? All in favor of the passage of the bill will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no. And the clerk will unlock the machine. Have all members voted? For what purpose does Representative Sharp arise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true that I've been in the medical field for over 30 years as a paramedic, and when we come to someone that has experienced this, it is very difficult for us to know that the fentanyl is there, even though they tell us it's maybe Xanax or another drug involved. But we really don't know that the fentanyl is involved, so it really makes it hard for us to revive that patient. And also, usually when we get to someone who's involved with fentanyl, there's a lot of times it's already too late when we get there.
I know the gentleman knows what he speaks, and we appreciate our first responders in this state, and you're certainly one of those. Appreciate the job you do. For what purpose does Representative Reese rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Isn't it true, Mr. Speaker, that fentanyl has had a very negative impact on our state? It does not discriminate based upon race, gender, age, or sexuality. It impacts all communities the same way, in a negative way. And isn't it further true that today, with evidence of this vote, that this body is sending a strong message that those who perpetuate this drug in our community, amongst our children, amongst our young folks, that we are coming after you and we will not tolerate it?
Sure, the gentleman's vote will reflect that, his opinion. For what purpose does Representative Stinson rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that I've been a part of the funeral industry for 17 years, and these past 2 years I've seen mothers crying over the passing of their sons and daughters due to this drug that they end up taking without knowing what they were taking, and it left these families in a really hard position financially because they didn't have money to pay for their funerals. Is that not true, Mr. Speaker?
I'm sure the lady knows what she speaks.
Thank you.
And she sees a lot of these, I'm sure. For what purpose does Representative Maynard rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Is it not true, Mr. Speaker, that we just had a house of young children to just walk through the door in the gallery, and not only is this bill supporting Austin and his family, but just the mere fact that these children are hearing this discussion, this bill not only will save potentially their lives, other people's lives, and this is just a fantastic measure, and thank you, Senator Goodman, for the bill. Is that not true, Mr. Speaker?
I'm sure the lady believes every word she spoke. For what purpose does Chairman Tyler Paul Smith rise?
Parliamentary inquiry.
State your inquiry.
Mr. Speaker, is it not true that Georgia has a felony murder statute that holds criminals responsible for the deaths they may cause in the commission of other crimes, and this legislation would hold drug dealers to that same standard?
I'm sure the gentleman knows of what he speaks because of what he does here and what he does in his community. Now, have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machine on the passage of Senate Bill 465. The yeas are 175. The nays are 0. This bill, having received the requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Thank you, Whip Burchett, and thank you, members. Members, we're going to break for lunch, so we're going to have an announcement. If you have an announcement that needs to be made, you need to get up here right now. And, members, I'm going to take page photos when we break for lunch, so if you have a page, you need to hang around a little bit. Representative Chairman Corbett is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Rural Caucus will be meeting in the Ag Building upon adjournment. We have fried chicken, macaroni and cheese, potato salad, banana pudding, and sweet tea. Y'all come on.
Whip Park is recognized for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is a legislative lunch available to talk about the Earned Income Tax Credit and Cap 216. Cap 216. Thank you.
This House will stand in recess until 1 p.m. 1 p.m. The House will be in recess.